Carl, what's the worst present you've ever had?
You see, we don't really celebrate birthdays in our house, so...
What? Where are you from, planet? Are you? What do you mean you don't celebrate birthdays?
Are you here from another world observing? Like, trying to blend in, but not quite managing to pull it off?
Not that fussed about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's...
Yeah.
My mum and dad's are on the same day, and I think that just was like...
That's a bit weird, isn't it?
And their anniversary, and...
Well, they got married on their mutual birthday.
But Carl, can I just... I mean,
and Christmas.
But Carl, there's a difference between you saying...
What do you mean their anniversary's on the same day? Of course it's on the same day.
Yeah, and the birthday.
But, Carl, what I mean is that... you say that you don't really celebrate your birthday, but presumably you have received some presents at some point in your life from your parents. Or anyone.
Yeah,
Okay, well, we'll come back to you later.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's play a record.
Carl, have a think about that and we'll come back to you later. Thanks very much.
I'm just finding more and more things are annoying me.
Really?
Like, even... Like, at that Sony's night, right, you've got a lot of, respectable people going to that thing, you know, people who are high up at the BBC and that.
Yeah.
And just the way, you know, it's a posh night, there's people there with dinner jackets on and stuff.
Mm.
And then I went to the toilet for a wee. Old fella in there. I thought he looks like he's been in the, you know, the radio game for years, probably done loads of award-winning Sony stuff.
Yeah.
You know, all the BBC documentaries to do, in-depth stuff, and I thought, you know, I wonder if I'll be like him when I'm older, I wonder if I'm as good as him. Thinking all that, he's having a wee in the next urinal. Farts.
I know. Yeah.
He just farts. Old fella in a dinner jacket, probably hired. And I thought,
But is that like they try to? They think, well, I better do it in here, and it's sort of like a trumpet, and everyone just goes, yeah, that's fine. What's up with that? You know, yeah, I know what you mean. It's just the arrogance of doing it.
He just did it. It sounded like a lost whale. and he didn't sort of go and try and clinch it. He carried on, and then he went, oh, that was a good one.
Really?
Old fella, must have been about 70.
Oh dear.
And
what, better out than in?
Yeah.
But it's not though. I wasn't brought up like that. You see.
Right.
Because I did it. I mean, I never really did it that much as a kid.
Sure.
And then I was at my mum and dad's.
You never did it that much as a kid? What, farted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not just like, you know, as a joke and that.
We are taping this for next year's Sony Award, aren't we? We're taping this, what we're talking about now, aren't we? To hand in. Because this is, go on.
But I was at my mum and dad's, right? And, Suzanne was sat on the floor in front of me, and she was like, oh, rub me neck, it's hurting. So I thought, oh, and I hate doing that, it really it bores me.
Well,
right?
she's your girlfriend, for goodness sake.
I know, Dale Winton's different, you're getting paid for that, go on.
So I thought, the only way to shift her is I'll let one go, right? So I did that.
I love that!
It's such a loving relationship.
I love that, that's great!
So
like doing the washing up badly.
Yeah.
She won't ask me again, what have you done? I've smashed the cups up and I've written in excrement across the wall. Well, that's no good, isn't it? Well, I won't do it again then.
Give me the marigolds, I'll do it.
I've nailed the cat to the fridge, what's up with that?
Yeah.
Go on.
But yeah, so I did that, and it worked. She sort of got up and said, oh, and my dad said, what you do that for?
Yeah. What was he thinking?
So I said, oh, I hate rubbing her neck, does me head in. So he says, you know, I've never trumped in front of your mother for 40 years.
Sorry, where was this? Chigley? Why is this family talking like this? Young Carl, I've never trumped in front of your mother in the 35 years. What? I don't know what...
No, it's just that he said, you know, we've done a lot of things in the family that I'm
Hold
not
on,
proud of.
what did he say that for? What, he's never trumped in front of your mother?
He just offered that information up.
Well, he just was surprised that I did it. He said, where have you got that from?
Yeah.
Whoa, you're lower intestines, I'd have thought. What do you have to imagine there's a class of farting. Oh, no. we haven't told our kids about farting. He doesn't do it. We haven't told him about it. We don't do it in front of him. You have to learn it, do you?
No, but there's a place. That's what I was always told.
Go on.
There's a place for that.
Cornwall.
So, and my mum, you know, it's the same, she doesn't do it.
Right.
If she goes to the toilet to, you know, do what you gotta do, she makes sure, like, she'll sort of say things like, are you going out for a walk?
Are you going out for a walk?
Does she know that you're broadcasting this?
Well, yeah.
He's probably around at the neighbours now, listening.
Yeah.
Any of you going out for a walk?
Yeah, just at the door.
So she waits until everyone's left, or?
She doesn't like the thought that everyone... Do you know, like, cats don't like you staring at them when they're doing it?
I've never stared at a cat while it was doing anything.
Have you ever had a pet cat?
What do you mean? Yeah, go on.
No, it's just that cats, you know, if you get on a little litter tray,
Yeah.
I remember being told, like, no, when it does use it, don't sort of go and look at it. 'Cause it puts it off. I was the same as a kid. When I had a
What do
nappy...
you mean? Who comes and looks at you when you're on the bottom?
No, when I was a kid and I was in a nappy, right,
Yeah.
I used to always, like, there was a corner in the kitchen that I'd always go to. And everyone would be
Why do you go
like...
to the toilet?
Because I had a nappy on.
Oh, yeah, right, how old were you?
14th birthday?
About 3 or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And I used to always go to this corner, and
Yeah.
everyone said, right, he's going to the corner, don't watch, don't stare at him.
The thing is, I can so imagine you because you've got the same head.
Yeah, you look like a baby.
It's just the baby's head. Put in there. Would you put a nappy on for 50 quid?
Now.
Yeah. Just sitting, do your work, right?
Well, anyway,
Just sit in the
right,
corner.
So I'm not doing that, right?
Come on.
So yeah, my mum's like that, and something else she's good. I mean, people
no,
might want to know.
At a dinner party, oh, it's Mrs. Pilkington just in the corner, just don't look at her.
Yeah, don't look at Mrs. P.
She's just in the corner of our kitchen, don't just look at her. What's she doing? She's just doing her business. There she is squatting. Are you going for a walk?
Sorry, you were saying, Carl.
Another trick I've learned from her, right? If you're using, say, a friend's toilet or something, and you don't want to leave your mark, just
Go down the toilet and flush it.
take a box of matches with you.
Yes.
Set fire to the curtains.
Set fire to the girls' calls and distraction.
Burn the place down, have a wonderful crap, and just leave when the fire brigade get there.
Forget it.
Carl, tell Steve what you just told me when Steve was in the toilet then.
Right, you know, I'd just been away with my mum and dad and that.
Mm.
And one of the things I always like doing is having a good chat with my dad about stuff he got up to when he was a kid and that.
Yeah.
Right, because he got up to loads of stuff, and every time I see him, he tells me something, and I thought, it's like, why are you just telling me that now? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I mean, to me, he's kind of like Ronnie Biggs or someone. He's just the most extraordinary kind of...
well, this happened, right?
character.
I can't remember. There was a delay yesterday. There was problems on the Paddington line, and he was saying, "Oh, trains aren't what they used to be."
Sure.
He said, I was looking.
They used to be horses, didn't they?
Well, he was looking in the booklet, and it was saying, you can have your bags collected if you want, but it costs you £5.
Yeah.
So that's outrageous.
Sure, of course.
Right. So he said that's the problem with this country. We've got good with computers and that, but when it comes to like getting service, it's gone out the window.
Yeah.
Right. So he said when I worked on the trains, and he was going on like this, that and the other. So I said, oh, I didn't know you worked on the trains. He said, yeah, when I was 18, right, it was his job to get the coal, right, and chuck it in the engine.
Uh-huh.
Right. And one day he's in Grand Central Station in Manchester, which is now the GMX Centre.
Right.
Right. And that was like the main station. And he was in there. The fella who should have been sort of driving the train, right, he said, I'm just nipping to the pub.
Sure.
So you just stay here, keep the engine topped up and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like,
For a quick getaway.
Yeah.
Right? So the fella goes in the pub, and my dad's in there, putting the coal on. He did his bacon and eggs on a little shovel.
Yeah, yeah.
And anyway, fella comes up. He said, right, can you move the train forward now?
Oh, blimey.
So he was like, oh. So he didn't want to say, the fella's in the pub, because he'd know he'd say, what's he doing in the pub? He should be working, right? So he said, yeah, no problem, I'll sort it out. Right, so he puts it into gear, or whatever you do on them trains,
Sure,
right?
puts it into first, yeah.
Starts going forward. Now, people who don't know about trains, something that I learnt, is if you're carrying a load of coal or whatever on the back of it, they don't have brakes on each carriage, right? It's only the engine that has brakes on it.
Uh-huh.
So when you pull the brakes on the engine, the whole weight of what it's pulling is pushing you forward.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't realise this though, because he's just used to cooking bacon and eggs and chucking coal.
Of course,
and
yeah.
like.
So you've got to slam the brakes on sooner than you would normally.
Yeah.
Well, you have to anticipate it, I suppose, yeah.
But he didn't know that, so he's pulling in, he's thinking, right, I'll put the brakes on now.
Yeah.
Right? Puts the brakes on, the train just keeps going, he's going, oh god, it's not stopping.
Sure.
It ploughs right through the signal box. Right? Loads of damage.
Pulling the signal to know what to do.
Yeah.
Loads of damage done. Apparently, if it was today's money, it'd be about £3 to £4 million worth of damage. It shut the station off for 4 weeks. But he didn't lose his job. The fella lost his job, the one who was in the pub.
Yeah.
He said the funny thing was, he said like £4 million worth of damage. He did his ankle, his wrist in. He had 3 weeks off sick and got paid. So it's brilliant. So
I love your family.
It's extraordinary. The Pilkington gene.
weird, isn't it?
I'd like to see a documentary following you and your family. You'd have to get the family involved.
No, the sort of stuff my dad goes on about. They'd never put it on telly.
Did your dad ever pop anything down in writing?
I'll tell you what, my mum wanted to do it.
Yeah.
There's been loads of things, little inventions she's come up with and that, but she's been too busy doing other stuff. But she used to come up with stories for me as a kid that I'm sure if they came out they'd be a success.
Yeah.
Go on.
Do you remember any of them?
There was one about a little red car. I can't remember how that ended. But the one that was really good was about a kid who gets a dog, right? But it's quite an old dog.
This is going to be an episode of the Waltons, isn't it? And then go on.
And he's playing with the dog and that, but it starts getting a bit old. It's about 15 or whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, it's rubbish, this dog. So,
I would love that book for kids. I would love that. Tommy went, oh, Mummy, my dad's, oh no, kill it then. Kill it then. She's like, yeah, just throw it in the lake. I'll get you another one. Do you want a Nintendo? Yeah. Kick the rabbit to death then.
right, so he said, oh, Mum, you know, this dog's rubbish and that, I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
So she goes...
How old were you when your mum was telling you this story?
don't know, about 4.
Okay.
It wasn't last week on holiday.
Right, so she goes, oh, alright then, we'll get you another one.
Yeah.
She goes, brilliant.
What did you do with the old one?
Just kept it, but didn't sort of play with it or anything.
Just ostracised it until it left of its own free will, or curled up and died.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
So,
what did you get him? What sort of dog?
I think it was a little baby, like Labrador.
Puppy.
Little puppy, yeah.
Yeah, Labrador,
Right.
good one. Good choice for a second dog.
So,
Yeah.
so
I'm
anyway,
loving this story.
It's a great
I am actually
story.
loving this story.
So,
Where does he live?
I don't know, it didn't matter. Didn't matter, it was near a lake.
Well, that's where they were getting rid of all the dogs. Sure.
Yeah.
We're getting, that'll make sense in a minute, right? So, so, he's got the little dog, he's playing around with it, he's playing with its belly and stuff, he's thinking this is brilliant, best dog I've ever had, right? And the other dog sat in the corner looking all fed up, right? So,
I like this story.
so he says to his mum, right, I'm taking, little puppy down the park.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, take the old one with you. And he goes, oh, do we have to?
It's a moral, isn't it? I bet the old one saves him.
So he goes, oh, do we have to? She goes, yeah, it still needs a walk and that. Scrapping all over the house, right?
Yeah.
So takes it down the park, right? And he's playing around, and he's playing near the lake, right?
Is the puppy near the lake, Carl? Because this is what's worrying me.
Yeah.
Puppy's near the lake, right? That jumps in.
Yeah.
The kid goes, oh God, he jumps in. Remembers he can't swim,
Yeah, idiot.
right?
This kid is based on you, isn't it?
Almost certainly.
Flapping about. Water's going everywhere. He's going, I can't. Oh God! And he wants the puppy to help him, but the puppy's just like drowning as well.
Yeah.
The old dog comes up, drags them both out. He goes, I can't believe it. You know, I said I was fed up with you.
Yeah.
You saved my life.
Yeah.
He gets home, and he says to his mum,
Kill the
"Get
little
rid of
one.
the puppy."
Kill the puppy.
Yeah. So it's good little. Good
What
little
does he
story.
say when he gets home?
He said, I don't need the puppy now. I'm
Brilliant. Brilliant. Genius.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, so the moral of that story is
Well, they
just
show
follow
what-
your whims.
They just yeah. If you get bored and get another puppy.
Get another dog.
If you get bored with the old one again, just do it again. I mean, just eventually, get something
Yeah,
that you
learn your
like for a
dogs,
little.
who cares?
Yeah. That's brilliant. That is a brilliant story, though.
There's a time and place to be lost.
Well, go on.
Well, a place you don't know. and
place to be lost?
somewhere you don't know.
Right. Good. Okay.
And the time?
The
Time when you're not in a rush.
Right.
But that time I was in a rush, and I was cold.
So a typical argument in your head is what? I'm lost. I'll do one side of the brain, you do the other side of the brain, okay, in your head, okay? Carl.
What?
This isn't where we should be. You want to go home, didn't you? This isn't your house. 'Cause it's a field. You live in a house, don't you? Why are we standing in a field? This isn't your house. You're meant to go home, but you've walked into a field.
No, but that wouldn't. I've never been that lost. When I'm walking across a field, at the edge of the field, I'd go, hang on a minute, this isn't right. I wouldn't get in the middle. I wouldn't go that far. I'd go, right, I definitely shouldn't be here.
You did once. You were in the middle of a field, and your dad had to rescue you.
Yeah,
and carry
that's
you
when I
through
was
the
a kid, because I was reading as I was walking. That's,
and he never read again.
but there's another sense. I was in the middle of nettles there.
Yeah.
I'd walked. It was at my brother's wedding in Cornwall, and I was walking near a cliff edge.
Reading a book.
And okay, so okay. Walking. Carl, I know you're enjoying this book. Can I have a word with you? Just look past the book a minute. It's a big drop.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened, and then that's when my other senses went, hang on a minute, I'm being stung. Load of nettles and stuff. I just had to wait there for ages until my dad sort of thought, where's Carl? I was there for about an hour and a half.
You should have book.
Fuck me like a cartoon.
But why are you wandering off reading a book when it's your brother's wedding?
No, this was like, we were in, I think it was St Ives in Cornwall.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was in St Ives, and just, you know, it was a nice day and that. There was no telly in the place. It was a horrible house. It was haunted, actually. No, honestly.
No, not honestly. It wasn't haunted. There's no such thing as ghosts. So you saying honestly it was haunted means fuck all.
It's the weirdest place and weirdest sensation I've ever had. I spoke to a woman called Mrs. Battersby.
Right.
Who sat on my bed keeping me up all night. My mum came up, she said, you look shattered. I said, yeah, I haven't had a kip all night. She said, why? I said, I've been talking to Mrs. Battersby. She said, who's that? I said, I don't know, some old woman. Now, I can't remember it now, but that's what I did then. And then,
Sorry, so Mrs. Battersby didn't exist, is that what you're saying? She was the ghost?
Yeah.
Wasn't a landlady?
No, there's no landlady. It's a big house, about 12 bedrooms in it.
Right.
Dead cheap to stay there, because it was a wreck. My
Were
mum
you
and dad
ill?
went out
Were you
one
ill?
night.
Did you have flu at the
No,
time?
I had nothing like that. I just...
So you were sitting up, but you were awake, and you were having a conversation with Mrs. Battersby.
What did she look like?
I can't remember. I can't even remember having the chat now.
Right,
But
so-
at the time, I was like, oh, she just doesn't shut up. Chatting all night.
So you don't remember this happening? Or you do remember it happening?
No, I remember that, like, if I see my mum now and I mention St. Ives, she'll go, oh yeah, Mrs. Battersby. She remembers coming in, because she was older than me, wasn't she? So, to
Who?
her, my mum.
Was she?
Yeah.
How old was Mrs. Battersby? She was older than both
She
of you.
was old, because I'm calling her Mrs. Battersby. If she was my age, I'd probably say, oh, it's Susan or whatever.
Right, sure,
You
Miss
call older
Miss
people
Battersby.
by the surname, don't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, so she kept me
How
up
old
all
were you?
night. Dunno, I'm thinking of pictures at the wedding.
Why do you have to go through other things to just have a memory?
How old do you reckon you were?
I don't understand why you haven't got direct access to your memories.
How old do you reckon you were?
Your mum was older though, yeah?
You must have a vague idea of when this
I'm
event
thinking
was.
about it now, I'm thinking. I'm
Okay.
picturing a picture of myself at this wedding.
Okay.
And how old are you? What are you doing?
How tall were
I'd say
you?
I look about...
How were you?
I'd say I look about 7 or 8, looking at the picture.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So Mrs. Battersby is chatting away to you. You don't remember what she said, but you do remember having the conversation.
No, he doesn't remember it
I
at
don't
all.
remember the chat now.
Well then
So-
why are you telling us?
It's
You
not
must
your
remember it
memory.
because you're telling us about
It's not
it.
your
Because it's a
memory.
memory, my mum's reminded me of it.
Yeah, but all it says is, this is so far removed. This is hearsay that your mum said you spoke to a ghost once, and you don't even remember the ghost.
Mrs. Battersby.
No,
Yeah,
you
no, but you
remember the
don't
name,
remember
don't you, because
her.
your mum reminded you of
In a
it.
court of law, if there was a ghost court, they go hearsay, thrown out of court.
Right.
You don't have a memory of Mrs.
No,
Battersby.
look, I know that when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I ate a beetle. I ate a beetle because I thought it was licorice. Now, I can't remember that now.
You can't remember that, but you know it happened because your mother told you it happened.
Exactly.
Right. But the fundamental thing is that we can believe we can believe you ate a beetle, right? Because that is something that could happen in real life.
But-
what we're questioning is that you spoke to a ghost.
I thought it was licorice. What sort of beetle, was it?
Just one of them standard Beetles, just a little black shiny one.
Thing is, right, a couple of years ago, we were in the Ivy, and the food came, and there's a big blob of wasabi, right? It was like called an Oriental hors d'oeuvre, right? And I looked over at Carl, and he started going, drinking water. I said, what have you done? He said, I heard that. I said, that was a blob of wasabi. He said, I thought it was one mushy pea.
That's a classy restaurant, they're serving one mushy pea.
Well, they do that, don't they?
Wow.
Small portions. It's all trendy, isn't it?
I love the fact that it's exactly the same thing. They've swapped beetle for wasabi and licorice for pea. You see things, you see something.
It's a good job you remembered that anecdote though, because he doesn't.
Exactly, yeah. In years to come, we'll be going, ate some wasabi once. Did you?
Yeah.
Well, according to Ricky, I did, yeah. I was in the Ivy. I thought it were mushy pea.
So hang on, I just want to go back to Mrs. Battersby because you confidently said it was haunted, so it's haunted place.
Yeah.
But you've got no real evidence for it because even you claim you had this encounter, you don't even remember it.
Yeah, but you don't remember everything in life,
But you
do you?
supposedly had a conversation with a ghost.
I know, but I didn't know. When I was younger, I
But you
didn't think
remember
that
the
was a
specifics
ghost.
of an ant walking around.
Yeah, so you thought, so I see. If you'd have had the memory, it would just be a nice old lady on the end of your bed all night.
Right.
And then
Then, when I mentioned it, my mum was saying, what do you mean, Mrs. Battersby? Who's Mrs. Battersby?
right?
When you're a kid, you're not terrified, are you?
No.
Nothing scares
I mean,
you.
I'm beginning to think who the fuck is Mrs. Battersby, I must admit. But
So, yeah, that was, but it was a weird place. I mean, there was no telly. All they had for sort of company was a calculator.
Placebo. This picture on XFM 104.9. I'm Ricky Gervais with me, Steve Merchant and Karl Pilkington.
Right.
So you've been educated there, haven't you? The
Yeah,
Trojan
so,
horse.
Yeah.
The Trojan horse. And that's of course where the phrase, beware Greeks bearing gifts, comes from.
Silence again.
Yeah. You ever heard of that one?
Go on. What's that again?
Beware Greeks bearing gifts.
Right.
What do you think that means?
I don't know. I mean, what is that? Is that used worldwide or what? Will they say that in Greece as well, or? Because imagine Christmas Day is rubbish.
No, it doesn't actually mean beware of Greeks bearing gifts. It's more to do with, like, maybe it's too good to be true, or, you know. It's the opposite to don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Well, that's probably where it came from as well.
Justin from Southend emailed in, he just said, for the Trojans not to have spotted that it was a trick, they must have been the biggest bunch of moronic, ever to have walked the earth. Does Carl have any Trojan in him by any chance?
Cheeky, innit?
Eh?
What?
Never mind. Well, I think that probably proves it.
I thought of another one like as well. I was saying, you may as well be hung for a sheep as a lamb.
I've never heard, I don't think I've heard that. I have heard, but I don't think I've ever used it in common parlance.
Well, it's like, if you're gonna do something, you know, you might as well go the whole hog, depending on the outcome. Because it's based on reality. That's why I like it, because obviously the poor people used to poach, and if they were caught stealing, you know, a sheep or anything, they would be hung. So if you're gonna get caught, don't steal a lamb, you know, at least feed your family for a few weeks.
Right, sure.
Kill a sheep.
Yeah.
Actually hung, but killing a sheep.
Oh. Your dad would be in trouble, down in Wales, stealing stuff from that phone box.
Well, he has a couple of sayings, right?
Your father?
Yeah, I've never asked him what they mean.
Why would you? Ask Suzanne.
One is, don't try and teach your granny to suck eggs.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means, it's patronising to, of course I know that. You're talking to someone who knows more about this subject than you.
But how did that happen then? How did that saying come about?
Well, it's not. It's a totally made up thing. It's like, your granny sucks eggs, doesn't she? Because she's older than you, and it's probably a lost art or something.
Alright. And the other one,
Sucks eggs?
sucks
Yeah.
eggs, yeah.
Sucks eggs, sorry, I thought you said something else.
Don't nudge your granny when she's shaving.
What?
Sorry?
Don't nudge your granny while she's shaving.
Don't nudge your... Sorry, say
Well,
that
that's
slower, I can't...
Don't
nudge
nudge your granny when she's having a shave.
Well, what is that in context? Because I can't work out what the analogy is there, because that might just be you when you were little, you used to run up to your granny while she was shaving or something.
But what,
And she
why is your granny shaving?
Well, then, what context is that said in? Tell me the last time your dad ever said that, and I'll try and work out what it means.
Can't remember. I can't. I don't
Are you
know.
sure these aren't specific to your granny?
Yeah, I was to say, were you nudging your granny? She was going,
Yeah.
get lost, Carl.
She was shaving off her moustache.
Or
Oh.
giving herself a Brazilian.
That's grotesque. Suck an egg, suck an egg, suck an egg.
Sucking
that
eggs.
instead.
Oh,
That's it.
oh God. That's made
Yeah, that's
it
made it
worse.
worse.
Carl's granny sucking eggs. Whilst that's... that is
Giving herself
my...
a Brazilian. We've no idea. I don't know what that means. Don't nudge your granny while she's shaving. What,
Yeah.
parmesan?
I don't know. Maybe someone knows. You might be right. Maybe.
Well,
it's a
email
song.
in. Tell us.
Yeah.
Scorpio Rising, Death in Vegas on XFM 104.9, Steve. I'm Ricky Gervais. Carl's a little bit less stressed now. The camera crew have gone, his dad's not listening, we think.
Well, yeah, who knows? Who knows?
But, you're chilled.
I tell you what though, my mum was loving it. Do
Was
you know Rockbusters?
I love do I know Rockbusters? I love Rockbusters. I think I dream of it.
She was taking part. I mean, she doesn't know a lot of the new bands and that, but she made some up for some older bands and that.
Oh, she did some herself?
She made some herself, sent them in the post.
So are you going to use those today?
She's not quite got the hang of it. So,
Unlike her genius son.
Have you got them there? Can we hear what they
well,
are?
you keep talking a second then.
I'm quite excited. I mean, if they're even approaching, say, the genius of Wet Knee Houston.
Yeah.
And, there was another one which was something to do with a trench, Carl. What was that?
Oh, that was Dandy Warhols, that was a good one.
Dandy Warhols.
I think that was his
one of the
finest
best, wasn't it?
moment. Yeah.
Incidentally, I've had an email here from someone called Sauda, if that's a he or a she, but let's assume it's a she, just for glam's sake.
Yeah.
She says she saw an old man eating a Twix last week, Carl, so that blows your theory out the
I'm
water.
not having it.
Okay. So if you are a bloke, he's calling you a liar, so maybe you want a little rumble later?
In fact, if you are a bloke, he's calling you a girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, then. These are ones that my mum's made up.
Brilliant.
Right, just in case you're a new listener, I give some initials out and a cryptic clue. And it makes up a band, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or a solo artist.
Yeah,
Also
not so
artist.
much cryptic as what you're thinking. Go on.
My mum sent this one. This group would be good at doing your hair.
This group would be good at doing your hair.
TP.
Is there a group called the Hairdressers from the 60s?
This group would be good at doing
What?
your hair.
TP.
TP. Is it the something?
The Platters.
The Platters.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, so that's alright.
Nice.
Let's have a look. This group sound like dinosaurs.
You sound like dinosaurs.
T-Rex.
T-Rex.
Yeah, I see what you mean. They're not so much cryptic, are they?
This group.
Leave her alone, they're good.
This group likes being by the sand and the sea.
This group likes being
Are they the Beach Boys by any
Beach
chance?
Boys.
This band are called the Beatles. The Beatles.
Hang on. We just have
What else you got?
It's funny because one of them that she's done, I'm actually doing today. I thought of in the week.
Right,
So,
is it the same clip?
It was, yeah.
Wow,
But
great minds think alike,
Here's
so
the
this is
last
obviously
one.
coincidence.
Here's the last one from her. This guy sounds superb.
This guy sounds superb.
The Bachelors.
Glenn Campbell.
That's good. I like that.
I'd tell you this, I think you should get onto one of the big game, organisations, Parker Brothers or whatever, because this has got to be, I mean, this could sweep the nation at Christmas. Don't you think this is the perfect Christmas game?
Yeah.
Well, I think this is what's going to make or break the MTV thing. to be honest.
Right. Some kind of TV version.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm just thinking into ad breaks, you know, coming up next is this band.
Be careful though, Carl, because, you know, make sure you retain the rights, because I can see this selling abroad. You know, you could
and I
storm
can see
America.
someone coming along and taking the sort of like the Rockbusters and changing one word and making another game out of it and just
What
using
they-
the same format.
what
I
you
don't know. I don't know. I can't think of them there, but they could change. So
Sort of like,
they change the word rock to something else and have it.
what could it be, brick, block?
Yeah, and so you have to. You know what I mean? So be
Blockbusters.
careful. 'Cause
Blockbusters will never work.
look at his little face. Carl wanted to start off with a stereophonics.
Oh, loser.
Because it was a newer track. And Carl now, we've made him what he is. He was nothing when we
Nobody.
found him.
He's like work
And now
experience.
he's going, oh, we should start off with stereophonics. I'm going,
Trying to
Carl,
tell you what to do,
if
Ricky.
I want anyone's opinion, I don't.
But
Basically.
you'd probably come to me, I imagine, wouldn't you? I'd be the first person.
Before Carl,
Yeah.
I'd consult you, Steve.
Thank
so
you.
just keep it, just because he was in a, what was it,
He had his
Pilkington
mobile
making
disco outfit.
music. Pilkington making, I bet you never pleased a crowd once.
Did. Loads of times.
Go on then, what did you play? What's your
times.
biggest gig you ever played?
I did like a social club gig,
Yeah.
and it wasn't just about the music either. I used to.
What else could it be about?
I used to take prizes and cigars and stuff
In a youth club.
to give away.
I just love these, like, 14-year-old manx hanging out going, let's go down here, you might have some fags and cigars for us.
Well, it was whatever like was on my mum and dad's dressing table.
That could have been embarrassing, couldn't it?
That could have been deeply embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You've won.
And third prize, some handcuffs.
And a black mamba. I'm not saying that at any point in your upbringing, your parents left around any kind of marital aid on the dressing table. Don't think I'm saying that, Carl. I'm not suggesting. Like, he doesn't like this, does he?
Well, I can understand why.
Oh yeah, because it's about his.
It's about his parents having sex.
Well, they must have.
Yeah,
At least 3 times.
I think I was an accident.
I
still
think
have
you
had
were
sex.
as well, Carl. I think it's been ongoing.
Just because my brother and sister are quite older than me.
Yeah, me too. I was an accident. I know that. Yeah. How old's your brother and sister?
I think my sister's about 39,
Right.
and my brother's about 37.
Okay. And you're 29.
I'm like 29.
Right. So yeah, my next one's 11 years older than me.
Yeah.
That was definitely a.
Do you want to have a hug, you two, or
Yeah. Yeah.
you're dealing with it now? You got over it?
Well, would you like to see us have a hug?
Oh.
Cardigans. You're the Storm on XFM 104.9. Well, nearly the end of the show, but we wouldn't let them down, would we? You know what it is now, don't you? Oh, chimpanzee that monkey news.
Right. Now, whilst I was in Cornwall, I wasn't online. I didn't have the internet, so it was like, oh, what am I going to do? And I didn't come back till yesterday. And I thought there's loads going on that I don't know about in the monkey world and stuff. I was hoping to get some from the zoo that I was meant to be going to. Of course, that didn't happen. So I said to my dad, do you know anything about monkeys, or have you got any stories with monkeys?
Brilliant. This is what Trevor McDonald does.
Turned out,
Quarter to 10, he goes, got nothing. Dad, anything happened? You got anything politics? Anything politics, Dad?
this isn't monkey news, I'm just giving you this free.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Turned out one of his mates used to have a chimp.
Right.
What do you mean one of his mates used to have a chimp?
Well, two of his mates. Mind you,
Oh,
one
sorry,
wasn't
yeah,
his mate, one wasn't his mate.
I was thinking it sounded a bit far-fetched living in Manchester, like. But if there was 2 of them.
He had a chimp, had to thump it in the head.
For doing what? Answering back?
Oh, God!
Tried it on with his wife.
Had to thump it in the head for trying it on with his wife! I love it. It's a proper fist fight in a pub in Manchester. Oh.
I'd call him up, but he's one of them who, like, swears all the time.
Oh.
I mean, it'd be good to get him on and just
Let's interview him. Can we not interview him pre-record? We can bleep out the swearing. I'd love to hear his
do
story.
a lot of work, that.
Yeah, well, we're not scared of work,
No,
are
I
we,
mean,
Steve?
I'll
You
do it
know.
myself if you can't be bothered.
Yeah,
Oh,
you know,
I'll
so.
have a word, I'll sort it out.
Yeah, try and sort that out next
you
week.
sort that out, yeah.
Well, don't
yeah.
tell us the rest of the story then. Let's let him say it in his own
No,
words.
but there was another one as well. Some
When
fella...
you say you can get him on, but he swears a lot, you mean the monkey? I'm assuming he's more coherent than your dad's mate.
But there's him, and there's some other fella he knows who had a funny name. I'll have to find out, because you'll love his name. But he was a drag artist.
Yeah.
And, I think he said my dad went round one day, I don't know why, right? Went around there, knocked on the door, chimp answered.
Carl, I don't know what you're doing, mate. I don't know where this place you live. Next door, there's an horse in the front room. There's chimps running round.
It's mad. Anyway,
Chimpanzees!
Is that it? Is that the end of the story? There's a chimp answering the door and that's the end?
You sure it wasn't the drag artist before he shaved?
no,
Sure it wasn't your gran?
Because I like the really airy ones that decide they can be female impersonators. Yeah, your gran.
ELO, we've had an email here. It says, stop rambling and get on with it. How about some ELO? Well, there it is. And he asked us to dedicate it to his wife Fiona McCallum, and that's love from Penji or Pengi or Pengu or something.
I've got to realise that if we didn't ramble, we wouldn't have a show.
This is it.
This is what we do. When you've got Carl opposite you, there's nothing out. It can't be done.
Put on a CD if you don't want to hear the rambling. These people who email into a radio station go, play some ELO. Well, put a CD on. He must have the greatest hits of ELO. If you want to hear it so much, why are you phoning up a radio
Well, I
station?
think it's more the dedication. You know, he just wants to tell his
Yeah,
wife.
but, you know.
So
Do it on a better show.
What than this?
Yeah, there's gotta be any. In the second hour, we've got more stuff to give. Third hour, my goodness me, we've already got through the second hour. We got more stuff to give away. We got what else we got? We got Monkey News.
Oh, Monkey News. That's what the nation's waiting for.
But plus, Carl, we got more of your biblical retelling.
French food, you know. On 88 to 91 FM. This is Radio 2 from the BBC. Californication by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now we've got some Red Hot Chili Peppers stuff to give away as well.
We've got a Red Hot Chili Peppers platinum disc.
Brilliant. Only platinum on this show.
Yeah.
None of your gold, muck.
Absolutely. We need some kind of quiz question because we want to make sure that only a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan gets this merchandise. Obviously.
Okay. What about something like famously they were photographed with a sock over their what?
Anyone can get that.
That's too easy, isn't it? Notice I was all coy. I didn't want to say that. Why didn't I just say? Oh no, because I was asking the question.
Yeah.
Wouldn't I? Yeah. What would people phone in? Do you think they'd have to say? Oh, that's no good. It was there. We know what it was. It was over there. What would I say on Radio 2?
John Thomas.
John Thomas over there. They think that's probably a member of the band.
Yeah.
What do you say when you go to the doctor with your trouble? Look, okay, I know what we're talking about. We're talking about a man's parts downstairs. That's what they popped us
Well, if
up
I went
on.
to the doctor, I'd be honest. I just say, excuse me, doctor, I've got a problem with my penis.
Wouldn't that make you laugh, saying that? Even to a doctor, even though it's an official term, wouldn't you be...
Well...
It's funny, isn't it, going to saying... Because you never use that term,
No,
do
it's
you?
because it's formal, I suppose.
It's like you're trying to sort of like put on airs and graces because
Yeah.
you're in the company of a doctor. What would you say?
What, if I had a problem?
Yeah.
I had to go to the doctor.
With your...
I probably wouldn't go.
What do you mean?
I'd show it to Suzanne and say, is that normal? No, I haven't. I mean, I'm 32,
Why
right?
should
I've
she
never.
know necessarily?
No, just you know, they.
She's
sort
not a doctor, and there's nothing about you that's normal. So I can only imagine...
No, but you know what I'm like. I have, you know, Suzanne, my girlfriend, wants me to go to that Wellman clinic. I've said, oh, no way.
Oh, yeah,
Unless I'm really ill.
Well, you
Right.
should. You should get everything checked out.
I know,
The
but
finger up the...
I know,
So
I
what's
don't
your
check.
what's the quiz question?
What's the funniest term for it? No. What do women call it when they go? Because that's even worse, isn't it? I don't know. What does your mum call her?
She's never sort of brought it up with me. What do you mean, what does she call it? And even when I was a kid, she didn't give it a name. It's just, even now.
What did she call yours then? When if you had mummy, I got
She didn't.
a... What, you never discussed?
Why,
If you had a pain?
No, just get on with it and that.
What did you say for if you want to go to the toilet when you
Just
were
go,
little?
I'll just say, oh, I'm just nipping to the toilet.
No, when you were 3, you didn't say, alright mum, I'm just nipping to the toilet, get me fags ready when I come out, I'm dying for it. What do you...
I never gave it a name.
What do you mean? You never said... What? So how did you let your mum know I wanted to go to the toilet?
I think, well, we hadn't moved, we lived in the same house for ages, so I knew where the toilet was and stuff, and I just went
Not
myself.
when you were 2!
Well, I honestly, well, I can't remember then, if I did have a
Spend
name.
a penny?
What do you say now?
Well, I don't have to announce it, I know where the toilet is. I don't
the quiz
understand the question.
I don't know. What's the quick question? Oh, this is difficult, isn't it? We haven't planned this show.
We'll play a record. We'll
Someone's
think of a quiz
accusing
question.
this show of being pre-recorded. Someone said, oh, is this pre-recorded? If we pre-recorded it, we'd have edited out the bad bits, wouldn't
Why
we?
would we have had that conversation?
It's like, oh, it's 10:12. Let's do headlines. I remember Carl trying to prove it was live last week, and he was saying things like, it's Christmas Eve.
Well, weirdly, actually, there's a couple of mentions of you. I always like to check where you are mentioned in the papers, Rick.
Right.
The Daily Mirror mentions you in their surveillance section. I don't know if you noticed this. This is where they kind of, you know, for instance, Kiefer Sutherland was spotted having a pint of Guinness in Dublin.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, apparently. And it says here, Ricky Gervais and others were seen at Jon Stewart's show at Prince Edward Theatre. So, wasn't that like 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks
And
ago?
I was on stage. That's why I was spotted. I was working.
But that
I went on
basically
stage with him.
Spotted at Reading Comprehensive in 1973, Ricky Gervais. We just had the news.
Also, my favourite one is Spotted. They have it in the heat and stuff. And my favourite was Spotted on the set of his new movie, Johnny Depp. I mean, he's pretty much going to be there.
That doesn't count, surely.
That's the same as Train Spotting. Oh, I saw the 2:30 from Crew. Where was it? Crew.
Yeah.
What time was it? 2:30. There's a surprise.
Well, I was also looking through The Sun, and you can, again, if you want to prove that we're live, you can check this out in today's copy of The Sun. Flipping through, and, there's a picture of you, Rick, and it says at the top, comics, they're as funny as cancer. I thought that's a bit harsh. And I mean, most people agree, and it turns out they don't mean that you're as hellish as that. It means that actually, you're apparently star sign Cancer. Is that true?
That's right, yeah.
Well, apparently, so is, Jennifer Saunders and, Peter Kay, Mira Sayao, and apparently that's the funniest of all the star signs.
Well, I wouldn't disagree with that. I would disagree with it, because, whenever anyone says to me they're reading their stars, and say, what star sign are you? I give them a wrong one. They read it, they go, that's just you. I go, I'm not that.
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, can I say twaddle? We've said penis, to hell with it, twaddle. It's twaddle. Black Star by Radiohead on BBC Radio 2 with me, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant and Karl Pilkington. I forgot to
set the quiz question.
I know, well I forgot.
How are you, can you even call yourself a DJ?
I don't!
What? Well, no, clearly. I mean, they're probably...
I'm a broadcaster.
We've got this, Red Hot Chili Peppers Platinum disc to give away.
Well, what about that one? What do you call your little...
That's your quiz question. On Radio 2, on New Year's Eve, your question is, what do you call your thing?
If you're a man, what do you call your little dinkle? If you're a lady, what do you call your... thingy front?
That's unbelievable.
Well, I don't know, do I? It's as arbitrary as anything. So that people, and other funny names, nothing nasty, and we'll read them out. Remember, we won't read it out if it's nasty, but what's the, you know, what did you call your little, what's your little name?
Unbelievable.
What?
I mean, it's BBC Radio 2.
So,
and that's the best
you've seen the dregs they put on these shows? I mean, people who couldn't get a job anywhere else.
What are you talking about? It's top caliber broadcasters on this station.
Who?
I can't name off the top of my head. These people who they don't want on Radio 1 anymore.
That's true, isn't it?
Alright, well, 88 291, 0500 288 291, or you can email gervais@bbc.co.uk. And what you I'm not even mentioning I'm not sullying my mouth.
What do you call your little ding dong, your little willy wanky woo? What'd you call it? What did you call?
Unbelievable.
Well, but there's some, we learned something.
And we'll give away this platinum disc to whoever's got the most droll, the most amusing, the most charming.
After what do you call yours? Another Bible reading.
One of my songs of the year, it's Emily, by Stephen Fretwell. I really enjoyed that one.
Beautiful.
We are looking back at some of the big news stories of the year. Still to come, of course, I should just point out, we've got Monkey News.
Oh, that's the big one.
We've got the final part, it certainly is. We've got the final part of, Carl's sermon, and we haven't even got to Jesus Christ yet, so, you know, that's gonna be dynamite when that guy makes an appearance.
Yeah.
So we're all looking forward to that.
He better, because if he doesn't, you've missed out on quite a big thing in the Bible. Well, anyway, go on.
Plus, of course, you've just set this, possibly the worst quiz question I've ever heard on any radio station ever. Do you want to recap?
What do you call your, little...
Your little fellow or your little madam? Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
And you can win the, you can win the
being
platinum
rewarded
disc.
for that.
Yeah.
Being rewarded with sharing with the nation what you call your little thingy.
Red Hot Chili Peppers platinum disc to give away. Carl, what have been some of the big news stories that have hit you this year?
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Well, I don't really watch the news, do it? It gets me down a bit.
Sure.
Sometimes, you know, you're better off not knowing. I sometimes wonder about, you know, the way we've got satellites and stuff, and you know what's going on the other side of the world. Should we know? Do you know what I mean? Does it do us any good?
Right.
Knowing stuff? So, I mean, you've
That is
mentioned...
brilliant coming from Carl.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an amazing quote, isn't it? I mean, it's not we will fight them on the beaches, but, does it do you any good knowing stuff? It's pretty much what sums you up. I thought your New Year's resolution was to learn one thing a day.
All I'm saying is, normally, when you see people who are brainy, they never look like they're that happy.
Like who?
Einstein, Hawking. They all look a bit, like, fed up and that. They've got loads of knowledge.
Let's leave Hawking aside, with the way he looks, please.
Look at
You're
Einstein.
such an idiot, Carl. You're such an idiot.
Look at Einstein, then.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Then look at me. I'm happy. Right?
You have no reason to be, though.
Anyway,
And Einstein was happy. He was gallivanting around, he was having a laugh, he was going to parties, he was hanging out with Marilyn Monroe, he was loving it, he was inventing nuclear weapons, he was having a whale of a time.
Anyway, all I'm saying
He was, you know, he hanging out with, what's his name, McFly?
Right.
It was brilliant.
So, normally, I just pick up on the stories that sort of make me go, oh, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Two that stuck out for me, in 2005. Blind people, not always using dogs now, they've got horses.
Well, that's ridiculous, that's not true.
What are you talking about?
It is true.
What do you mean?
They're trying it out. People, you know, they've got guide dogs and that.
Yes.
They're sort of saying, why stop there? They're giving...
Well, do you know why?
You can't get a horse in a library.
Exactly.
What?
Because dogs can go into Tesco's with you, and go round to visit your auntie, and sit at your feet. What do you do with a horse?
No, it just cuts out the middleman. That if the horse knows where it's going, person gets on the back, off it goes.
Oh, don't talk rubbish.
Where
True
did you
story.
read this?
Where do you read this?
I've got it printed off, I can show it to you.
Oh, so it was
back.
the internet. Of course it was the internet. Yeah. I mean, when will you learn?
But why is that such a mad idea?
Because you haven't got the whole idea. I bet it is something. I bet there's a grain of truth to it, right? But there's no way that they're gonna be used like guide dogs. I mean, just think!
I'll look at the news story during the next song and we'll get to the
What
bottom
else?
of it.
What else? Well, there must be another news story that's got that.
Yeah, there's another one.
Go on.
Chickens and that.
Go on.
A fella had a problem with a chicken, wasn't laying enough eggs and that. He got an axe, put it next to its little house that he was living in, panicked it a bit, laid loads of eggs.
I don't. How is that a major news story?
No, it's not major, but it's interesting, isn't it?
What?
Well,
Frightening a chicken into laying an egg?
Yeah. No,
So-
they're sort of the two things
That's
that...
the only two news stories
That's
of the year that have
amazing.
caught your attention.
I mean, that's plus monkey news. Obviously, every week you
Oh,
keep up to date with monkey news.
but what do you think about when you hear about that chicken? What?
I don't think anything of it because it came from you, so you probably got something wrong. Or it was a little fluff piece in a tabloid that just someone, they had a slow news day that day. You know, there
Now,
was.
Rick, am I right in saying that Carl himself made the news this year? Because wasn't it right that a friend of your girlfriend's had read about him? Apparently, you were slagging off Cornwall somewhere.
Yeah, my girlfriend used to live in Cornwall, and you were the front sort of story on something like the Western something or other edition, slagging off Cornwall.
What are you on about?
What have you been up to?
What have you said? What have you said about Cornwall?
I haven't said anything. I like Cornwall.
Yeah, but what you must have said something, or they wouldn't have They mentioned Karl Pilkington.
You've been slagging off, apparently.
I love Cornwall. I love going there.
What have you ever said anything about it negative?
What was that thing? Oh, didn't you slag someone off at Mevagissey? You went into a pub in Mevagissey.
Yeah, and he was airy. That's that one fella. There was a sort of. I went in there, and they're really friendly and everything in Cornwall.
Yeah.
If you're listening,
Don't creep.
No, but I like it. If I wanted to retire and that early, that's where I'd go and live.
I wouldn't now.
But I went there, right, in this little place called Mevagissey, and went into a pub, and the woman behind the bar was all friendly and going, it was around Christmas time, and she said, oh, what we normally do is, like, have a fancy dress and stuff. She said, yeah, I'll show you some pictures, right? And she was going through, and there was a picture of someone there, and I said, God, what's he come as? Look at him, he's well airy. And she said, oh, he just works behind the bar, he wasn't dressed as anything. And he came out round the corner, airy fella. But there's no way that made the paper.
Have you said anything else negative about it?
When was the last time you were in Cornwall?
It was, we took someone for a wedding present, we took someone on holiday there for
Yeah.
a week. There was a fella on the beach who, he worked in one of them huts, you know how they sell deck chairs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's a pretty nice job, especially in the summer, innit? The sun's out, you sat there, all you've got to do is talk to people, say, what do you want, 2 deck chairs, there you go, no problem, see you later. But this fella, right, I went in there, got the chairs, took them back, he was being really moody. He said, so you got a lot of sand on them. I said, well, there's loads of it out there. It's not a surprise that it's stuck on, and he had a bit of a moan at me. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned that sort of.
Well, maybe he
openly.
recognised you.
But that isn't a diss. That's one person, isn't it?
If you're from Cornwall and you've got any reason to
But there's
dislike
not many
Carl,
people live in Cornwall. It's a very small community. I mean, no wonder they don't want to be part of us, with people like you slagging them off.
I love Cornwall. Got
So
nothing
do I.
against
I
it.
think Cornwall's beautiful. You're an idiot.
Uh-huh.
Don't. Anyone in Cornwall, do not judge the rest of the nation by Karl Pilkington. It's not fair. I sometimes wonder imagine if he's the one that archaeologists dig up in a million years' time,
Yeah.
and find some of his notes, and they measure the head and everything, and then some of the ramblings that he did. Do you know
or
what
if
I
an
mean?
alien comes down, it would just be him that they'd bump into. And
That
say,
would be just our luck, wouldn't
I
it?
tell you what, though, talking of like education and that,
Go
I know I'm sort of not the brightest bloke knocking about and that, right? But I treat myself the other day to a new mobile, right? And going through it, getting used to how to send text and all that. And do you know the predictive text?
Yeah.
So if you send a text, you type it in,
Yeah.
and that sort of guesses what you're going to write out,
Yeah.
right? And it's new, so it doesn't really know me yet, right? And I was sending a text to someone to say something like, I ain't got a clue or something, right? Wrote ain't, right? A-I-N-T. Looked up at the screen to make sure that he'd written it right. That had written up biotechnology.
What? What?
That had predicted that I was going to use the word biotechnology. I am never going to use that word. Ever.
What? I ain't got a clue.
No, ain't. A-I-N-T.
Yeah.
I wrote that, just A-I-N-T, on the phone. Looked up.
I love the fact that you've got a cleverer phone than you. Song for lovers.
people have been wondering whether the show is live or if it's pre-recorded. Well, if it weren't live, then how could Grace email in telling us how much she hates the show?
Brilliant.
She says, she says, "Dear Ricky, I think you are a prat."
She's got my attention already.
She opens with that, comes in straight away.
That's her opening gambit.
But she doesn't just leave it there, she qualifies it. She says, all you do is slag people off on your show and think it's funny. I disagree. We've slagged off Carl,
Yeah.
but he's pretty much the only one.
But Carl, all I've said is you are stupid, and, I mean, by your own admission, you must know you're stupid, don't you?
Well, you know, I'll get behind that, but yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's a fair comment, isn't it? And the other people we slagged off are people who like to see foxes ripped to pieces, so which I stand by.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
I'm sick of listening to you be rude about the world and certain people. Rude about the world? Are we being rude about the world? Well, anyway, I have to turn off the radio. I'm surprised anyone listens to you. Please try growing up.
Oh, she missed her dedication.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
What annoys me with Grace is that,
Nothing annoys me about Grace. Careful, what are you doing?
all I say is I think she's, no, I'm saying she's,
And?
I'm saying, Rick, she should have criticised us for the obvious problems. We're incompetent.
We're not very good at all.
We're not entertaining. We
Yeah.
drone on too much.
Yeah, but we
We're
don't
not
slag off the
amusing.
world. We
Well,
love the
slag off
world.
the world.
We love the world and Carl. In fact, the thing is about the world and Carl is that he's the same shape as the world, and that's why I like him, because that's all you need there, a little round...
I can't help but think the pot calling the kettle black there, Rick.
What? My body's round, my head is sort of fat and square. So how dare you?
Just quickly before we move on to the final bit of the sermon, we just thinking back to some of the other highlights of the year. One of mine, Rick, I'm sure one of yours, Live 8.
Live 8 was great fun.
Magnificent. Not only was it a great day, but obviously you know, it made its message very much clear and open to the world. Did you enjoy Live 8, Carl?
Yeah, it was alright. It was, you know, quite a good thing. I mean, has it sorted the problems out, or...?
Well, it's more about raising awareness, isn't it, and bringing that to the world's attention.
I'm aware of it, so yeah, it's sort of done the job on that. But I read something about,
Unbelievable.
do you know, but, you know, because Live 8 was all about money and stuff, wasn't it, giving money and what
No,
have
it
you.
wasn't really.
Well...
It was about awareness, but it was about, the G8...
Dropping the debt.
Cancelling the debt to the, I think, the 20th poorest nations or something, which I think...
Yeah. Well, then I was reading up on that, and there was something about, do you know Bill Gates?
Yeah.
Who did the computer stuff, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's the wealthiest,
Microsoft. Yeah.
wealthiest man in the world or something.
Absolutely, I think the first 100 billionaire.
Wow.
Was he?
That is a lot of money, because they worked out, they put to him that, with his labour, what his labour's worth, he would have to drop over $6,000 to be bothered to pick it up.
Wow.
And they asked him, and he said, well, of course I'd pick it up, you know, because it doesn't work like that. But yes, he's that rich.
But he could just pay someone to do it as well, couldn't he?
Okay, get on with it, Carl. Again, you've missed the point.
No,
I mean, again, you've missed the point.
But all I'm saying...
Sorry,
right,
Gracie, in wherever you are, Carl's an idiot, and I stand by it.
Bill
And
Gates...
don't rip foxes to pieces.
He's got that much money, right? He's saying that he could give everyone in the world, right, £6.
Mhm.
Everybody, right? And just what I was thinking and what I would to say to you, see what you think, right? Do you think it's fair that everybody gets £6?
Right, why? What's your
What
point?
do you mean? You should mean the poor should get more?
Well, no, not really. What I mean is, say like if you live in Africa, right?
Yeah.
You can get a lot more for, say, £1 there than you can in London. So what I'm saying is, rather than £6 each,
Yeah.
maybe give people in London a tenner each. In Africa or whatever, give them about £3, £3.50.
So you're saying, give the poorest people less, so they can get as much for their money in their Argos.
Yeah, basically.
You're saying, if you were to redistribute wealth, you'd give the poor people slightly less than the rich people because they've got a higher standard of living. Gracie, once again, can I come back to you on this? Do you know now why I call him a dick? Oh, you know what I like about Gracie? She told the truth and she put her name. It's Grace, actually. She put her name down. Some people, I mean, just say you're a prat and they'd leave
They
it
just
down.
shout at you across the street.
Yeah,
Hey, fat man! You're not funny!
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I rest my case. Carl, you're an idiot.
Alright.
Robert Post and a song called Got None, one of my favourites of the year. It's almost the end of this. Radio 2, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington.
It's been a pleasure doing these two specials. If we're invited again, keep your emails coming. Not Grace. Keep your emails to yourself.
Yeah.
No, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Please send them in, and we learned something, haven't we, Carl? No, he hasn't.
Well,
okay, good. It was a long shot.
Yeah.
It was, you know what I mean?
Chances were slim.
Yeah, I know. But we've been doing a sermon because, we've got a lot of vicars listening for some reason. And think of that. We're hardly their pin-up. Oh, you know what I mean? The vicar's going, oh, I must listen to that show. It's so cool. And there was a thing in the, I think the Mirror this week about, vicars are now, podcasting. They're, doing their sermon as a podcast and download it for busy people who can't get to church all the time, and they had the chart of the what's the #1 podcast in the world?
Well, I think it's Ricky Gervais podcast.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. It is #1 in the world. Yes, it is. So that's why we're doing this. In fact, you should do a full version of this and put it on. Yeah, let's do it.
No,
for people who can't, because this is valuable time, and Grace doesn't want to hear it. So just do the final. I suppose what would you call this? Summing up of the Bible. Then we do a longer one.
Well, no, it's not. It's not sort of summed up. Because, to be honest, after the Noah bit and stuff, I was a bit like, oh, this.
Oh, just do it. Just do it. Okay, this is the final. This is the final episode of the Bible. Well, the greatest story ever told.
No, but it's not the final chapter. This is just another bit in it that I thought I can relate to.
Get to the end.
You couldn't even read a children's Bible. They had to go to Waterstones and ask 2 people for, and they put it in a brown paper bag.
It was 200 and odd pages and that.
Oh.
So the one that I picked up on, right, that I could relate to.
Okay.
Do you know Samson and Delilah?
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what happened in that?
Yes.
Right, well, just in case you haven't heard the story of Samson and Delilah, what it is, I think God had a word with, some bloke, I can't remember his name, I think it's Manoah or something his name was.
Right.
He said, listen, I'm still having problems, Adam and Eve let me down.
He didn't say that, by the way. Anyone listening, at no point has God ever said, Adam and Eve let me down.
No,
anyway.
and then he had a word with Noah, he did the boat thing, so he said, I can't ask for 2 favours, right?
Sure.
So he asked this other bloke, Manoah.
He was happy with Noah, though, was he?
Yeah, he let him go on, though. It's like jury service, once you've done it, you're left alone for a bit, aren't you? So anyway,
he didn't bother getting the fish on the boat, did he?
I don't know.
They were happy, weren't they? Surely.
But anyway,
although was it salt water everywhere? Why didn't the freshwater fish die out?
Rick, I'm just going to stop you there because we've still got to get monkey news in before 1 o'clock.
So he had a word with this fella, and he said, look, what I'm going to do, you're going to have a kid soon. It's going to be a little boy, right? And when he grows up, he's going to sort out my problems. So it was like a long-term plan that he had sorted, right? So anyway, they have the kid, right? They're happy. They've got a little baby boy. They go, right, what we'll do to show our respect to God, we'll never cut his hair, right? Because he'll like that, right?
We're still in the Old Testament, aren't we?
I don't think Jesus is going to make an appearance.
So they called him Samson, right? And he grew up, right? Never cut his hair. His hair made him strong, right? He was going about, he was helping people out, he was stopping wars and that because he was so strong. His hair made him strong and that, apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, nobody knew that. Nobody knew it was his hair that did the job. So this is right so far, isn't it?
I don't know the ins and outs.
So anyway, what happened is, women are loving him all of a sudden. He's got nice long hair and that, he looks the part, he's stopping problems. Women are going, he's a good fellow, isn't he, this Samson bloke?
Like Stringfellow.
Anyway.
That's the power of pulling, is in Stringfellow's hair.
Yeah.
That's why he never cuts it.
Exactly.
Whatever the decade,
Yeah.
Peter Stringfellow never cuts his hair, because that's where the power lies.
Anyway, he didn't realise he had this power until one day, he got up, right, did his hair and that, went out, a lion jumped out.
Oh.
He killed it with his hands, with his bare hands.
Wow.
Right? So again, Noah was a bit annoyed, because that's one of the ones that he saved. But anyway, right, so he goes, I can't believe this power I've got, right? I'm gonna, like, sort out the world's
Didn't the lion have long hair, though, as well? Well, no, well, just what?
No, but you're always picking on to be honest, though, that's as far as I got, anyway. So
That's it. So if you were interested by those, you can buy the Bible in all good bookshops and read the rest. Is that what you're saying?
Or any religious book.
Yes. We don't remember the Torah, the Quran.
Somewhere Only We Know by Keane on BBC Radio 2. Right, it's that time again. It's what the nation's been waiting for.
Yeah.
Oh, chimpanzee that! Monkey news!
Right, this is something that I do know about, alright? If monkeys have been up to anything in the world, this is what I'm on. Do you know what I mean? This is what I'm on top of this. This one, it's pretty recent. Monkey was knocking about New York.
Oh, yeah.
He got locked up for, like, nicking stuff and all the rest of it, right? Anyway, that's the part.
I don't know where. That's the pointless.
Well, hang on, Steve, does that?
But you know what I mean? If that's the opening gambit, if I don't come in there, when do I come in?
Right,
you know I mean, if I don't pick him up on that, when do I come in?
Steve, I can show you the original.
Nicking stuff.
Anyway, so he worked on a plan to escape.
Oh, shut up!
Right, and he'd worked it all out. He saw the bloke with the keys and that.
How do we know this? How do we know this?
This isn't even the main bit of the story. I wouldn't even worry about it.
Because
please.
No, because he's embellished and it's.
So anyway,
I've said this before. I'm going to say it now. You do not interrupt the news. It's the news.
So anyway, right. So the monkey gets out. He's roaming about free. Word gets out that he's escaped and that, right? the copper, I think his name's PC Wilcox of NYPD, right?
Police Constable Wilcox of the New York Police Constable Wilcox.
Leave it.
Yeah.
We've only got a few minutes left, please.
Dixon of Queens.
So he got a call to sort of assist, you know, this monkey roaming about.
PC Wilcox of the New York PD.
Ricky!
Because they were having problems catching it. Right?
So he was called in.
So he was out on his motorbike looking what's going on. Anyway, cut a long story short, he manages to catch up with the monkey. Right?
Why did the monkey have a car?
He got it in like a little
Why did
alleyway.
the monkey steal a car, Carl?
Anyway, so he had him, he gave him the rights and everything, you know, everything he used to say and all that business. He said,
Whoa,
Steve.
Monkeys don't talk.
So
Carl,
Steve.
Carl, monkey, he didn't need to say anything you say, maybe take it down.
So anyway,
Carl, look
Steve,
at me
right?
as well.
No,
Carl,
I'm just telling Steve because he's listening.
But, Carl, think
It's
what
easy
you're
to put
saying.
stuff down. So anyway, cop, you know, the monkey's like fair cop, right? He's on the back of the motorbike being taken back to the station.
Yeah.
Oh, God!
Anyway, Wilcox gets a call on
PC Wilcox,
on the radio,
Sure.
saying, you know, listen, there's been another problem,
Oh, no.
right? Will you?
There was a diversion, there was a gang.
There was a gang. Right?
Oh.
So he said, can you go and sort it out? And he's like, well, I've got a monkey on my back. He said, well, take it with you.
Was he on
right?
drugs?
So anyway,
Isn't that what junkies say?
so he goes down to the scene where it's all kicking off. Monkey's just sat on the motorbike thinking, I'm not going to try and get away, it'll just make the matter worse, right? He's sat there. The gang,
Hold on, was he wearing a crash helmet?
the gang, sort of, you know, he saw all that going off. Copper goes up.
Sorry, was this a gang of humans?
So anyway, it's kicking off, right? There's a gang, and they're all having a fight and what have you. Anyway, it gets out of hand because Wilcox, even though he sort of helps out the person who was being beaten up, he walks off, the gang starts picking on the copper.
Oh, no.
So, the monkey thinks, best help out here.
Oh!
He goes up,
Oh,
right?
no.
Anyway, cut a long story short,
Yeah!
they let the monkey off, he got keys to the city. Steve,
How did he help out the policeman?
have a look at that. Have a look, there's the facts. There's the
It's not
facts.
fact. It never happened.
That's the facts.
I mean, everything about it's wrong. Everything about it is nonsense.
Steve?
Well, all I say is there's a picture here of a monkey brandishing a gun. If that's not truth, if that's not fact,
Have a look.
then there it is right there.
What is it? Should we have some real news?
Well, what is that?
I'm dumbfounded by that monkey news.
But it's all there, Steve.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give it a full assessment.
Let's see if there's the news coming up. See if there's any stories like that in this. Right, on 88 to 91 FM, this is Radio 2 from the BBC.
Thanks for listening.